There are shows with psychics.
And there are shows with doctors.
But there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
and street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight,
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic
and the Doc, and it starts now. Welcome everybody to The Psychic and the Doc. I am Mark Anthony, the Psychic, and I am here tonight with my amazing, fabulous, brilliant, and world-renowned psychologist, co-host, the one and only Dr. Pat Baccili. And we have got a really great show tonight. This is a call-in show, 1-800-930-2819. And the theme of tonight's show is the power to ask for great things. You know, we had last two shows, we were dodging UFOs and alien abductions, and those are pretty out of this world things. But just as our intro song says, that we get answers, whether they come from this side or the other side. So we're just shifting frequency tonight, and that frequency is dedicated to you, our callers. So what do you say, Dr. Pat, about the power to ask for great things?
I think it's a perfect show, and I want to talk about it a little bit. I want to give a little backdrop, if we could. I watched an interview yesterday between Anderson Cooper and William Shatner, Captain Kirk. Why? I am just blown away by the new images, the brand new images, total technology that is, and Jacob, I don't know if you can bring this up. I'll put the link in here to show you. But what I'm fascinated by in all of this, and I'm just going to say it, because part of this, and Jacob's going to put up his picture, I don't give the influences of people enough credit. And then I am reminded daily of my humanity. That's why today's show is so important. Because what holds us back, Mr. Mark, and this is a live call-in show, y'all out there. So we're taking your calls, but you better be ready to get big. It's like Carrie Knudsen says, get big out loud. This is a show where we are going to take your calls, all of them. Mark's going to do what he does. I'm going to do what I do. But I'm telling you, I got the new pictures of the universe running through my veins. What causes us to give up? What causes us to give up? Now, I sent Jacob a few things. There are people that have influenced me in my life. And you know why I'm thinking about it, Mark? Okay, so I'm thinking about writing a book. You notice how I said I'm not writing a book yet. Rocky's like, I know Rocky's going to jump in here in a minute. I know Rocky's going to be like, what? She is still thinking.
Yeah, but you got to be thinking about it. You got to think about it to get it going.
But here's what I thought about. I thought about why I'm not doing it. And what I realized with myself is I have a lot of reasons why I don't do things that are important to me. So today's show, Ask Big or Go Home, have to talk about it. But I must say, that sometimes we have to understand that when challenges come up, when setback comes up, the setbacks are setups. They're setups for even something greater in our life. See, that's it. So the setback you think is a setback. I love that phrase because the setback is a setup. And it's a setup for something even bigger than what you thought. What do you think about that, Mark? I mean, think about yourself.
Yeah,
know.
absolutely is. Well, when you start talking about the new Webb telescope, it kind of got me
Dude,
into that. And
but that's a
Rocky and
big
I,
idea. That's a
that's a
big
real
idea.
big idea. It took over a decade, $10 billion, and it was so revolutionary. I remember Rocky and I had special VIP passes to see the Hubble Space Telescope launched, however many years ago.
I was just
Well,
going to say, what decade was that? I mean, but it was a thing back then.
well, it
It
was
was
a
a big
huge
thing.
thing because they had never had, they meaning NASA, had never had a telescope in orbit. And a good friend of mine was a NASA scientist who got us into what they call the static test site. Anyway, it's very close. And then recently I saw the Webb launch, certainly not as close, but this is really revolutionary because certainly the technology is much more advanced, but they positioned it in an area where it doesn't get hit by ambient light, like the reflective light from the moon or the earth. And the images that we're getting back, wow, talk about the power to ask for great things. What we are seeing is unprecedented. And it also underscores how small in the universe we are, but also that despite we are just a drop of water in this infinite sea, we are significant. We are alive. Our energy transmits from the cosmic to the subatomic. And that's a big part of what I do as a medium, is tuning into that energy. And that's a big part of what you do, Dr. Pat, is helping people use their energy for positive purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, think about people who are depressed. I mean, they're emanating a lot of energy, right?
Yeah. I mean, energy is energy.
Yes.
Energy is energy. You either going to put out the energy out there that's going to get you like all, to that place where you can have a sign of peace. Now, everybody that sees me in the world today, and we talked about this with Lori Reed today. She would be a great guest to have on the show. And we talked about this today. And, we were talking about the power of the moon and our moon signs. And one of the things I love is when I look back at my life, because the first part of my life, up until I think about age 36, I started to really feel uncomfortable with who I was, but I had no tools to do anything about it. And I think about this, and I think about how we can hold on to a dream, Mark, even if the dream doesn't manifest in the way we think. So I want to share this, but I want to make sure everybody knows this is a live call-in show. We're taking your calls. I'm not quite sure, Jacob, who's answering phones, if it's Jessica, Lydia, whoever, 1-800-930-2819. So I'm 20 something years old, like one, maybe, or two. And Linda, I just met Linda, the Linda Rocky team,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, those two. And just met Linda. Met her through a third party. Heard her friend talk about her for a year before I actually met her. But I'm walking down the halls of what? Bell Laboratories in Murray Hill, New Jersey. Hello,
Wow.
people. Let me tell you about this. Bell Labs is probably around somewhere, but back in the day, basic research was the bomb. Do you know why we're actually talking about this today? Because you and I, Mark, were influenced by different people in our lives, weren't we?
Yes.
Okay. You have to have people that somehow sparked something in you that made you think bigger. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But I've talked about a lot of mentors, but I haven't talked about this guy very much till recently. His name is Arno Penzias. Now, Arno Penzias and Wilson, these two guys, Arno Allen Penzias. We now know Penzias and Wilson, the Nobel Prize for Physics. Why? Because they were experimenting in the Holmdel, New Jersey, Holmdel Horn Antenna, the phone company. This is the world of basic research. And along the way, they discovered the cosmomicrowave background of radiation. And when they discovered that, they discovered, I'm shortening it up because I don't want to take up the whole show. They discovered what we now know as the Big Bang. And to
Right.
hear William Shatner and these people talk about the Big Bang, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I got to just give Arno credit, because Arno Penzias and having bagels with Arno, me, this kid from the Bronx at Bell Labs, walking sweaty down a hallway after playing ping pong and just having a chat with him about stuff I did not understand. This man and those other PhDs, that's why I got a PhD, because they had so much fun. This is a guy that influenced me, and I don't talk about him that often. But I'm reflecting upon how that brush in time with this genius man changed the mind of a very young woman that grew up in the projects. Mark, it's got to make you cry when you think about those people, right?
Yeah,
Arno.
absolutely. Yeah, I like when you said you're thinking about writing a book, because well, it has to start. A thought is energy. A thought is an electromagnetic impulse. And I always liked writing. And when I was a kid, I used to write little stories. I created a comic strip and all this. And I remember I was walking on the beach with my dad. My dad and I spent a lot of time together. And it was one of those really nice, like the sun was setting and the water was rushing up on our feet. He said to me, he goes, "You're going to write a book someday, Mark." He goes, "I just know you're going to write a book." And I'll never forget when I was able to get my first book published. And he said to me, he goes, I told you you're going to write a book. And he reminded me of that conversation. And him telling me that inspired me and got that thought going. So you're thinking about writing a book. And the thing is, Dr. Pat, I've known you for a while. You have a lot to write about, so you got to get all those thoughts and then, get them down and get them organized. And once you get going, it flows. But for everyone out there, the theme of this show is the power to ask for great things.
Yeah. And
it starts with a thought. It starts with a question. It starts with, I want to achieve this. I was telling Jacob before we went on air, my first job in broadcasting, I had just started practicing law, and for the fun of it, I got a job as a DJ at this talk radio station that played 50s and 60s rockabilly, old type music. And it was a blast. And that got me thinking, I want to keep doing this. And here we are.
And, and this is what it is. And, today's show, I want to say to everybody out there, look, the young woman that walked down the hall and was influenced by a genius man who I didn't know as a genius man. I didn't know anything about the Big Bang, none of that. This was a guy that, and I didn't know Robert Wilson as well, because Arno became the president of Bell Labs ultimately. And when you're touched by somebody in a way that sparks something in you, you change. That's what today's show is about. Mark and I hope to spark something in you in some way today, because when you are doing that, you will pay that forward. And we have one of our fabulous callers waiting. I think we should go to the phone and then we'll take a short break. What do you think, Mark?
Absolutely.
All right, kicking it back to you, Jacob.
All righty, we've got CJ calling in from Texas. Hi there, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
Hey, CJ, you're on the air with Mark Anthony and Dr. Pat.
I did not know. Okay, I didn't know you had opened up the line.
You are like you're the first one.
I was calling to see if maybe I could get a mini reading. I want to see what the other side has any messages.
Well, let's find out. All right. So I'm getting a female energy connected to you coming through. She has a real mom-like vibe. Thing is, though, she feels almost more like a grandmother. Now, that's always tricky because all grandmothers are mothers. Many mothers are grandmothers. And what I'm getting with her is that she was elderly when she passed, and I think that she could have been. She keeps showing me 8888, so that could be she may have been in her late 80s, early 90s when she passed. That can also indicate that number 8. Eight's an interesting number because it could mean the month of August. It can mean 88 could mean a year, perhaps like 1988. If you turn 8 on its side, it's the infinity symbol. And this woman, the way when she passed, she had a very productive, very long life. I don't feel that she was a wealthy person, not in the material sense, but in wisdom, in life experience, very, very wealthy. But toward the end, I'm getting a very non-responsive state mentally. So something was going on with her, CJ, which was making it difficult for her to communicate and with her mental clarity. I'm also getting the sense of her lungs filling with fluid. This could be congestive heart failure, it could be pneumonia. They feel very similar. And so her passing was not a surprise for the loved ones around her. And she actually, even though she wasn't communicating very much, welcomed the passing. Do you recognize this person? Does this make any sense to you?
What is this? Is she from the maternal side or the paternal side?
I think the maternal side. I don't want you to get so bogged down in that. Does this person, doesn't matter what side, does she make sense to you?
Not immediately.
All right, well, let's see what she wants you to know. Oh, she's annoyed with you that you're not recognizing her. And she said she was the one that always brought you a present at Christmas, just one present. It was a small present. And she's the one that taught you that it isn't the size of the present, but the thought that matters. And she also explained to me that you have been a very, very hard worker, but in the recent months, like in the recent past, like year and a half, you're getting very disillusioned with life. And you're feeling that all your hard work, it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And what she wants you to know is to stay the course and hang in there. So that's what she wants you to know.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm trying to recognize who it is. I'd have to think about that. But
all right, let me ask you this. Hold on. All right, is your mom here in this world?
Yes. Okay.
Are there any aunts or grandmothers that had a long, slow passing?
There's a lot of, it's a very matriarchal family.
Yeah. All right, so here's the thing. I just want you to think about that. Don't strain and stress trying to figure out who it is right away. You need to concentrate more on the message, because a lot of times when people overthink and overanalyze, you're so worried about who is this, you need to listen to what she's telling you. Okay. But she said something about she was the one that always brought you a present, a small present, but it was a significant present. And she's the one that taught you that it isn't the size of the present that matters. Okay. So, and also about how you're getting very disillusioned with all your hard work and efforts, but she's telling you this is something that you're just going through now. So I'll leave that with you.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thank you for calling in today in the show. That'll give you something to think about. Mark, let's take a short break. For those of you out there, this is our live call-in show today. Lots going on to talk about, but what are you thinking about that's big, but could be bigger? Are you afraid to take that one other leap to see something bigger? When we come back, we'll be checking in with a number of people calling into the show. Stay tuned, everybody. Just wipe your energy clean. We're going to take a short break. Jacob, we'll be right back. Everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. We're talking about thinking big, but we're talking about an idea that even goes beyond that, because we're talking about an energy that will either elevate your life, it will help you expand, or not. I mean, and does that seem really so black and white about what Mark and I are talking about? We're going to talk to you how the realization is just that. But before we do, 1-800-930-2819. Mark, before we go to the phones, how do people find out about you? How do they get copies of your books? And how do they connect with you for a session?
Thank you, Dr. Pat. Please visit my website, afterlifefrequency.com. All one word, afterlifefrequency.com. I got a lot of great events coming up. A week from this weekend, I have 2 light circles, which are online events limited to 6 people each. Go to my website, go to the calendar of events, you can find out about that. Also, registration is open for the Helping Parents Heal annual convention. The tickets are sold out, but they're doing virtual, so you can view the live stream. And if you go to my calendar of events, that's there. And IANS, International Association for Near-Death Studies 2022, registration is now open. Go to my calendar of events. You can find out about my books, booking a private reading, all these other things coming up, plus keep you up to date on the upcoming episodes of The Psychic and the Doc at visiting afterlifefrequency.com. And Dr. Pat, I understand we have a caller on the line.
Yeah, we do. Jacob.
Alrighty, we've got Soraya calling in. Hi there, Soraya.
Great. Hi there.
Hey,
Welcome to the show.
Hey, Soraya,
Hello?
how you doing? Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing really well. I understand Jacob messaged me and she said that she, all right. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay. She apparently you think, all right, make sure that your speakers in the background are turned off. Only be communicating with me on your phone because we're getting a feedback loop. That's why there's all that distortion. It sounds like a cat is being tortured in slow motion.
Oh, no.
Hold on. That's hilarious.
Like, and that's energy
wait.
and feedback and frequency.
Okay.
And certainly I'm just joking. I
All
don't
right,
want
is that
anyone to
better?
torture cats in slow motion or any other motion. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so when you were listening, you felt that grandmother energy that came through was for you. Now let me explain something. It was definitely for the caller, but this is an example of collective consciousness communication where we get a group of spirits coming through and that message can apply to more than one person. So Soraya, how did that message resonate with you?
Well, because my grandmother was a very strong influence in my life. And I remember her gifts. I mean, her gifts were small, and then she did teach me that. You know, she was like, you know, it's not the size of the gift; it is the sentiment that it comes from. And it didn't matter what it was. She always, whether it was a pair of socks or whatever, it was always we appreciated because she gave it to us.
Super. Okay, I got her back, or I got your grandmother back. What's with the red skirt? Now, I know lots of ladies have red skirts, but she's talking about the red skirt, and I see her sewing. Did she sew, or do you sew? Who sewed? Because somebody must.
No, my mother sews. Well, she used to sew.
Is mom in this world or the other side?
No, she's here.
Okay, that's okay, because that means your grandmother is talking about your mom who used to sew, but specifically the red skirt. Did somebody used to do some type of dancing and they wore a red skirt? You know, it could be line dancing
That's
or
hilarious.
something.
My aunt used to dance flamenco.
Okay, great. All right, so we got your grandmother here, and we are cooking. All right, let's see what she wants you to know. Interesting. What is going on with your car? I'm smelling brake fluid. I'm smelling some antifreeze. I'm getting oil leaking. When did you just have your car serviced, or do you need to get some work on it? Because I'm getting something with
No,
your car.
I do need to have an oil change on it.
Okay, you definitely need to get in as soon as possible because what I'm smelling indicates that it's more than just an oil change. There could be a leak somewhere, and this is what is known as spirit intervention. When a spirit's coming through and saying, hey, Soraya, we're picking up on this problem. Also, you tend to, they're talking about your driving. You tend to ride your brake. And what that means is you'll be like pulling up behind somebody that maybe stopped, and you're on your brake, you rely more than usual on your brakes. And I think that's why I'm also smelling brake fluid. So when you take it in, have them check all of that. The other
Okay.
thing he wants you to know is how incredibly proud she is of you. She said, because you have really stepped up to the plate. And she said, one day you're going to be that formidable female in our family. And that's exactly how she said it. Hey, who played piano? Because I'm having a piano thing.
My mom.
Okay, that's a verifiable fact following a message. So please give your grandmother's love to your mom and to your flamenco dancing auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one that danced flamenco passed away also.
Oh, okay.
that's
So that's
it.
why
Okay.
that's why we're picking that up. Okay. So mom and you are getting your acknowledgments from your grandmother and your flamenco dancing auntie. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sarai. I appreciate you calling
Yeah,
in.
thank you. Thanks for calling in. 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819. We're taking your calls. And let me just say to everybody calling in, when you call in, if you're waiting on the phone, you should be able to hear the show. So as you're hearing the show on hold, when you call in, turn off your radio. The other thing is, stop whatever you're doing, because our microphones pick up everything, and we want Mark to be able to get a direct connection, right? So
Absolutely.
multitasking when you're talking to spirit is not a great idea, is it?
No, it isn't. And even though we have a lot of callers in their cars, when you're getting advice from Dr. Pat, you really need
You gotta pull
perhaps
over.
to pull over
You gotta
and
pull
listen.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because I had
Yeah.
somebody sign up for a reading one time, and then I called and they said, "Oh, I forgot about it. I'm driving. Just go ahead and do it." I said, "Well, if you wanted me to take your appendix out, would you let me do it while you were driving?" "Well, no." I go, "Then why do you want to communicate with the other side?" Because thing is, this is a very deep and focused activity. And it's the same thing with when Dr. Pat is working with you. People think we're just like winging this, throwing this out. I mean, Pat, I know you love what you do. I love what I do. But when we're done doing what we're doing, we're wiped out, aren't we?
Oh, it's really interesting that we're talking about this, because we do this all day long. And I'm sure, people may or may not know that. But this is a very special show. And, this is one of the things we decided to do, to reach the people that wouldn't normally be able to get to us. Maybe
Right.
they can't listen to the earlier show, or maybe they can't connect with you during the day. And so that was really one of the reasons we created a show like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be able to do that. What I'd like to do is, Jacob, let's go to a short break. When we come back, we've got Barbara waiting from Florida. We'll get you right on here, Barbara. And for those of you on here that would like to connect, there will be a time, I think, left for you to do that. 1-800-930-2819. You're listening to The Psychic and the Doc. We're going to take a short break. Barbara, we will get right to you after the break. Everybody, welcome back. You're listening to The Psychic and the Doc. Hello. I want to make sure you know how to find out about Mark. Mark, one more time. How do people give them your website? Let them know how to get a hold of you. Okay.
Absolutely. It's afterlifefrequency.com, just like my book. And you can find out about my books, booking a reading with me, and all my upcoming events. I got a number of spirit communication online events and some public appearances. I'm going to be in Arizona, Utah, and Virginia over the next couple months. And I'd also like to thank Best Holistic Life magazine.
Yeah.
Jana Short, my editor, she's a good friend to our show and to Dr. Pat and I.
Yeah.
And I also write for Best Holistic Life. I'm a monthly columnist. And this month, July, is Spirit Communication and the White House. So if you want to find out about spirit communication going on in the White House, and also America's most tragic first lady, please go to bestholisticlife.com and you can subscribe online for free.
Yeah, I gotta catch that for sure. 1-800-930-2819. Jacob, we're going to kick it back to you. We're going to see if we can get going here. Now, I want to just tell everybody why Jacob's bringing you on. This show is about asking. Here's a distinction I want to make for everybody. I work with 3 different aspects of asking. And when you put them in a Venn diagram, a little 3 circle, maybe I'll show everybody next time. There are 3 of them in the circle. But one of the things I want to tell you about them, there is a fundamental difference between surviving asking and thriving asking. Fundamental difference. And I don't care what spiritual platform you're from, especially if you're from a Bible aspect, you will know that there is very little surviving asking that goes on in scripture. It is mega asking. So how is it that those people were able to do those things? I found out the other day that, like somebody else in the Bible that I didn't know about, I stuttered when I was a kid. Think about this. I am the last and least likely person to be on air 14 hours a week. I also found out Moses stuttered. Who knew? Let's go to phone.
Yeah, I always thought Moses
didn't know that.
was like Charlton Heston,
Did you know? I had somebody on that knew all about the Bible.
That's why he had his brother Aaron speak for him.
That's it.
Yeah, but see, we're used to the
But
10 Commandments with Charlton Heston, with his Shakespearean, and it's like, it was probably like Moses,
Yeah.
And,
well, you see, but he didn't have to speak to create great things, did he? But
no, he didn't.
But what was the asking he was doing? Was he over here in survival mode? Now, I got to tell you, there's parts of Moses. Yes, he was. But today's show, we're going to do a whole nother show on this. Are you survival asking or thriving? Surviving asking, thriving asking. Let's go to phone, Jacob. Let's have you bring us in here.
All right, we've got Barbara calling in from Florida. Hey there, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Hello there. Hi.
Hey, how are you? Hey.
Yes, I'm from Vero Beach, and hello there. I'm a little hoarse. I have like a sinus condition going on.
That's okay. We can hear you really well. I'm going to connect you over with Mark. What can we help you with today?
Hey, Barbara.
Thank you. Hi, Mark. Can you hear me?
I
Yes,
can hear you. You're
perfectly
coming
well.
through nice and clear. What can I help you with, Barbara?
She's got really good
Okay.
energy. Really kind energy.
My brother and I connected with you one time in Florida. We were at a forum there, and you came through. My dad came through. I mean, and it was very. It was a fun night, and it was really good. Anyway, I was wondering if you see or feel any spirit there tonight.
Well, let's see who we got. All right.
Mhm.
Did your dad, is there an uncle, like either your dad had a brother or a brother-in-law who has also passed?
My dad had a brother. Yes.
Okay. Because I'm getting 2 guys coming in that feel like brothers, and they're both on the father level, which would mean a father and an uncle. Let's see what they have to say to you. Hey, is there anything, I know this is going to sound weird, but spirits give me all types of stuff. They are putting in front of me a bowl filled with Brazil nuts. Now, this could mean a couple different things. It could be, hey, maybe we went to Brazil, or there's somebody that speaks Portuguese, or there could be something about Brazil nuts. And also, it could mean that there may be something in Brazil nuts, which are certainly rich in protein and oil. And I also believe the mineral selenium, which could be beneficial to you. But let's start easy. Is there anything with Brazil nuts, which would make sense?
Selenium for myself?
All right, don't
Anybody.
worry about it. Anyone. See, when messages come through, you have to think globally, because if you hyper focus, you may miss the bigger picture. So that's why I said, is there anything about Brazil? Like, you ever been there? Any connections there? Anything with Portugal or the Portuguese language, because they speak Portuguese in Brazil? Or is there something about Brazil nuts that you love them, hate them, but they may have something within them that would be good for you?
No, but I was just thinking lately, I'm looking at some pictures of Mexico, on the on the Pacific coastline.
No, I can't stretch
totally
the term.
different, though.
No, That's like saying Italy is like Afghanistan. Okay, I don't want to stretch to make that.
I know. But
No, so I want you, hold on, Barbara, it's very important in spirit communication to not interrupt when I'm communicating with the spirit. And I'm not yelling at you, I'm just advising you because it can cause me to lose the link. And I want you to write down Brazil nuts. And after the show, I want you to do an internet search to see what the health benefits of those are, because they're telling me about those and in conjunction with you. They're also talking about okay, with the spirit that I believe to be your father, I'm getting this very difficult pain in my upper chest. So this could be heart failure, or this could be a breathing issue. Does anything there make sense?
Wait, I'm trying to listen.
Okay. Barbara, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
I want you to look up the health benefits of Brazil nuts.
Yeah, I also want to give you a message.
Wait.
Okay, let me give you a message,
Wait.
and we're going to let you go. Okay, Brazil nuts. Let me tell you something about them. They are the most difficult nut to crack. And I'm going to give you this metaphorically. I don't know who it is in your life that's a really hard nut to crack. There's something going on with you. Somebody, really hard nut to crack. As a matter of fact, Brazil nuts cannot be cracked with the hand, right? Brazil nuts, there are health benefits to them, but think about them metaphorically. I love them, but I rarely buy them where they're not already have the shell removed. They are hard to crack. And by the way, they are very, very important on certain diets. But you think about that and think about, is anybody in your life that you're thinking, man, you're like a hard nut to crack? All right. Thank you for calling in. Thank you. Wow. I love that, Mark. I love that.
Yeah, that, Dr. Pat, I'm really glad that you brought that up about Brazil nuts are really hard to crack. Because think about it, in Thanksgiving, when we get that bag of nuts, there's almonds, hazelnuts, pecans, walnuts, but the Brazil nuts are brutal.
Yeah.
And that could be a tough nut to crack.
A tough nut to crack. I love that.
Well, that's one of the reasons I love doing the show with you, because I get this information. It's transmitted to me. I don't always understand it. And you're an objective listener, and you're like, well, let's look at it in a different way, because so much of what comes through is a metaphor. And you are the mistress of metaphor metabolization. I think you are the mistress of metaphor.
Jacob, you're going to have to pull that from the show. The reason that that's true is because I did stutter as a kid. And when you stutter as a kid, you have a lot of time to think about what people are saying. Do you know that the average time a person will ask you a question before you answer it? Just saying. A person will ask you one question, you'll try to answer it. They will ask you 8 more questions before you answer it, because they think you're not understanding the first question. So by the time you're ready to get the answer out, you have to absorb 8 different questions and give a synopsis that only takes 3 seconds. Let's go to the phone, Jake.
Ooh, I love that.
All right, sounds good. We've got Myra calling in from Houston.
Hey, Myra, how's Houston?
Houston is hot, Dr. Pat.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Say hi to Beyonce for me, though, will you?
We sure will. Give her a wave.
All right.
And okay, I am calling today to speak with Mark, and I just was listening to you talk about the mega asking and what's coming up, and at this point, I'm kind of feeling like Job in the Bible. But I was wanting to.
Let me tell you the good news about Job. You ready?
Yes.
Contrary to popular belief, Job only went through that for 9 months. Good thing you're Job and not Joseph. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Mark.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Okay, Amira, on that biblical note, all right, how can I help you?
Well, I'm kind of in a sandwich generation at the same time and under a lot of stress. I was trying to see what communications they have for me. Anyway.
Okay, getting a female energy coming through, could be on the generational level above you, which could be like a mom or an aunt. This woman was really wise. She used to cut to the chase. feeling a lot of pain with her in her back. So you know how sometimes when women get older, they get the osteoporosis and the posture issues. I'm picking up on that. And the thing is, she didn't let that bother her. I mean, this lady kept going, and like I feel like one day here, one day not, which would indicate to me that even though she was elderly when she passed, it seemed like it was kind of a surprise that she passed when she did. And it could have been something like a stroke or a heart attack, but it appears to me, based on what she's transmitting, that it was pretty quick. Does that make any sense to you? Do you recognize that person?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. I know you do, right? I know you do. I got you.
Okay, now she's giving me a bunch of candy corn, and I always get a kick out of candy corn because that's only one time of the year. That's got to be right around Halloween. Now, whether or not you guys ate candy corn isn't because sometimes people say, well, we never ate candy corn, but see, they give me certain things to get me to certain time frames.
Okay.
So what this indicates to me, Myra, is something within the Scorpio time frame, which runs roughly from October 20th through November 20th. So Myra, there could be significant births, deaths, anniversaries, or events, which could be connected to you, to her, or someone close to either of you within Scorpio, October 20 to November 20, give or take a day or so on either end. Anything there makes sense to you?
Yes.
In what way?
Could be a birthday.
Okay. All right. Now let's see what advice she has for you. Yeah, you are going through the whole Job thing. She's showing some health issues, particularly with circulation. And look, we're on worldwide radio, so you don't have to divulge what's going on with you medically. But I'm getting some circulation issues, and definitely some things maybe going on with your walking. It doesn't mean that you can't walk, but there's just some discomfort there. She's also showing. Did you have an appliance breakdown recently, like a washer or dryer or something? Because she keeps showing me it looks like a dryer, and it looks like everything in there is like still wet. Did you have some type of appliance breakdown?
AC at my mom's house. Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah.
AC, because okay, the spinning. Yeah, dryer, AC, hot, wet. Okay, I'm getting this. What's with your TV? You having issues with your internet or TV as well?
Yes.
Okay. You know what yeah, go ahead.
Oh, antenna issues, but yes.
Antenna issues. Okay, that works. She is telling me that none of these, except for your health, she said that's what matters, and that's why you have to sift out between the two things. She said the material world problems, she said, are a pain. She said, but they're just distractions because they really don't matter. What you have to focus on is your health, particularly your cardiovascular and your circulation. Now, don't freak out. It's not telling you that you're going to get a heart attack, but she's giving you information so that you can head it off at the pass. And she's also, now this is interesting too, because she's saying you need to learn to ask. And you know what, Dr. Pat, what is resonating through me is what you were talking about, asking for surviving versus asking for thriving. And I want to defer now to you for that point.
Yeah. So I have a really good message for you. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, I got to give it to you because I know you're ready for it. I know you are. You have a great energy. You have a big energy. You really do. You fill the room. I know that's the way people see you, just this beautiful, beautiful light and love. But when it comes to you asking, you're playing really, really teeny weeny, like a little speck in the dark, right? And so these things that are falling apart for you right now, these things that are coming down, falling apart, you're carrying the weight of them. And what I want to say, you're just not asking, you're asking for surviving kind of energy. You're like, oh, maybe fix the antenna. Oh, like what's going to happen with the AC? It's never going to be better. So when you tap into the laws of the universe, right? You know, look, I'm telling you, if you had Job in front of you after his 9 months were over, you'd be saying, Job, tell me how to ask for this kind of relief, right? Because you see, there's something about Job that got him through it and got him out of it. But open up your mind, not just to asking, but knowing you're going to get the relief you deserve. Not the relief just to survive, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like, got to hold the energy that that air conditioner is not only fixed, but we have got a new one. And it is not paid for by me. It is paid for by somebody else. I'm not sure who. You see what I'm saying? The differences in the energy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't go to your
Okay.
bank account and look and say, you know what? It's going to be a hot summer in Houston. I mean, honestly, if that's where you're going with this, that's be like, oh, it's hot in Houston. And guess what? It's going to stay hot in Houston because I don't have in my consciousness how I'm going to get some relief, because I'm thinking there's no way the relief is going to come. Okay. There's always a way. It's always a way.
And real quick, the Scorpio time frame circulating back around. Myra, are you thinking about, here's why I'm saying this. I'm getting some type of employment shift in November. Are you thinking of switching jobs or different career path?
Well, no, I'm actually on disability.
Okay. Well, hold on. That could indicate there could be a change in that, or maybe, I don't know if you're going for any type of hearing or reassessment, but I'm getting a very positive feeling about the Scorpio timeframe, particularly in November. And hopefully with that positive change is going to be a turnaround in your health condition. So let's let what Dr. Pat was let's ask for that. Always ask for health.
Right. Does that make sense to you? Are you afraid to ask
Absolutely.
for a little help? Okay.
I am not. I just need to remove 5 into mega.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it, because that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about there's an energy of surviving asking. See, it's over here. It's the survivor's ask, I call it. Can't cuss on here. Can't cuss on here because can't cuss anyway, but I'm just saying it's a survivor ask. Then there's the thriver ask. And then there is the mega, right? Tap into the mega energy and then get out of the way and let it happen to you. That doesn't mean we don't have to take action, right? But if you ask and get out of the way, there are going to be solutions revealed to you that you haven't thought about yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you both, and have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Many blessings.
Boy, that is a lesson for all of us. That is a lesson for all of us. How often, Mark, have you ever learned this story? And do we have somebody else waiting here, Jacob? I don't want to take up the time if we have people waiting.
Yeah, we've got Luis calling in from New Hampshire.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, let's do it.
Alrighty. Hi there, Luis.
Hi. How can we help you today?
Hey, Louise.
Hi, are you speaking to Louise?
Yeah,
Yes.
Louise, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. You were cutting in and out. Sorry.
Yeah,
Good
we're gonna
evening,
have to be really
Mark
quick.
and Dr. Pat.
Good evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Right.
go for
See,
it.
the thing is, we're not cutting in and out. Your reception of us is.
Yeah.
So make sure that
Okay.
you're in a good location to receive the call, because also if I'm going to be trying to connect with the other side, if you have a bad connection, that is going to create a block in the contact with the other side. So we'll give it our best shot. So
Yes,
Louise, how can we
yes,
help
we
you?
will.
Yeah.
Well, I've been listening a lot more recently to forums for spiritual enrichment, such as podcasts, Audible, YouTube, persons
Yeah.
like today, the 1111 NAG. I was listening to you and Simran today. Cryon on YouTube, Michael Sandler on podcast, Paul Selig on YouTube. Just some examples of the live type things. And my question is this. In doing so, which is enriching and interesting, I all too often weep very deeply, like my heart is breaking. And I honestly have no idea why.
Yeah, Dr. Pat.
Yeah. So can we talk about this for a minute? 1111, right? That's what you're tapping into. And I'm going to be really quick. My number is 11. My birth number is 11. Almost everything that I do is 11. So I just want to be with you on that. And you are tapping into listening to the podcast. You said you're listening to 1111 Mag, right? You're probably listening to some of our shows.
Uh-huh.
Did I get that right? So let me tell you what I think is happening in this short period of time. You are tapping into a new energy, and this energy has 3 parts to it. 1, it has what I call opening. 2, it has what I call healing. And 3, it has what I call revealing. I put this in a little Venn diagram, right? Opening, healing, and revealing, right? You got that? When we enter into the energy, and it sounds like you're not just listening to it, but you're opening to receive. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm crying now, and I don't know why my heart's so heavy.
I could tell you why. Because it is reminding you, and I have 2 minutes to say this to you. It's connecting you with who you are today and the cellular memory in your body. And so if we had more, please call in the next show, because I'll be able to talk to you more about it, or send me an email at info, I-N-F-O, at thedrpatshow.com, and I'll connect with you about it, because I went through this starting at age 36. And because I understand it now and I coach people through it, this is a good thing. Please let yourself cry, but know that these are tears of gratitude, okay? You're hearing things that are hitting your soul level, okay? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Don't get overwhelmed.
It does.
Don't get overwhelmed with it. Remember, take it in. Know you are blessed and beautiful. You got that? That's your mantra.
Got it. And
Okay.
thank goodness I don't wear mascara.
I know. I wear this mascara. It takes a jackhammer to get my mascara off at night. Please call into the next show, because you're going through what so many of us have been through. I just didn't know how to deal with it. And when you call in next time, I'm hoping Mark can connect you, because I think there is ways for you to get but this is you opening up. It's a soul heart opening, right, Mark?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And
thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
It's
you
a
for calling in.
self-love and it's opening.
Yeah.
Dr. Pat, fantastic, perfect, beautiful advice. And
Beautiful.
Louise, thank you for reaching out. And everybody, Dr. Pat and I will be back next week. We got another call-in show next week. And we look forward to being back with all of you. You know, Dr. Pat, we have the best audience in the world.
Crazy, amazing, amazing. I just got to find out if it's going to get cooler in Houston. I feel so strongly that air conditioning is going to get fixed. I don't know how, but I hope she will call in, let us know. I want to thank you, Mark, for everything. I want to thank you, Jacob, and Micah, everybody answering the phones. I want to thank all of you again. And next week we have another live call-in show, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, let's do it. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
All right. Good night.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into The Psychic in the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on The Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.